Welcome back to special shout out to Robert. I know you're watching somewhere, and thank you everyone else for tuning in to the 4th episode of Bean Bag Banter. I will not lie, I already filmed this episode, but my mic was not working. So yeah, so I'm gonna just kind of pretend that that didn't happen, and we're just gonna go on like normal. Yeah, we have some good things to talk about. The Harry Potter trailer came out for the HBO series. Obviously, a lot of albums came out, 2 very important ones. Some gaming price hikes, and pick a panel, and the return of a segment. Let's go ahead and start it out, with... Actually, let's start it out with opening my drink. Prime. This is the only... Well, I guess the white Prime is not too bad either, but yeah, this is Dream Pop. Please, 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 Prime, bring back the smaller bottles, or the smaller cans. Why did we have to go these jumbo ass cans, bruh? Like, I fucked with the like Celsius size cans. Those are solid, and it kind of exploded on me. Pause. Cheers. The Dream Pop is solid. Dream Pop's actually very good. But yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about, let me get my... So we're going to start the episode talking about the Harry Potter HBO series. If you guys haven't had a chance to go watch the trailer, it is out now. And there's a lot of divisive opinions about it. People either are excited or disappointed or, somewhere in between. I stand on the excited side. I do think I'm pretty intrigued with the trailer. I think it could be good. Really the only thing that I see people getting mad over is a couple things, actually. One of the first things that I actually saw a clip of today when I woke up is the color grading. A lot of people have been kind of saying the color grading is too bland, it's too gray, it's not, magical enough, whatever. And I get it. Right, I get it. I don't know if I agree. I can look at it and understand, like, yes, it looks different to the original series, and it looks different to, other things in the same kind of realm. It could possibly be color graded a little better. Maybe it could have been a different camera, maybe it could have been, different wardrobe, whatever. I don't know if I watched the trailer and personally was like, I don't like it. You know what I mean? I watched the trailer. I thought it looks pretty good. If you want me to be honest, I thought it looks pretty good. I thought the casting was good. Obviously, Snape is the biggest casting dislike from people. People are not liking Snape being black. I've seen actual just comments of people being like, I don't like the Snape casting, and somebody will reply to them and be like, why? And they'll legit just say he's black, and it's like, okay, I guess, I guess, and I can understand a little bit because of the way that people were looking at it, and I know his whole story is like him getting, bullied by Harry Potter's dad, and Snape loving Harry Potter's mom and stuff like that. Spoiler warning, by the way. So I guess a lot of people now are looking at that storyline and they're saying like, oh, well, now they're going to chalk it up to racism. Now it's going to be a thing of like injustice, and they're going to kind of paint that story differently because of skin color. And I could definitely see that being something they do, right? With the way that it is, I could understand that being a concern. But I also wouldn't be surprised if they just didn't. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they just had the same story, but legitimately just changed the skin color. Like, didn't bring a layer of racism into it. But I guess we'll see. I'm not, like, as mad as everybody else when it comes to Snape's casting. I think I saw some crazy videos on Twitter about it. I mean, people were making, like, AI videos of the new Snape just, like, pulling out a gun and shit. Like, being racist. It's insane because it's like people are concerned about taking those story beats and becoming racist with it. But to the buildup of the show, we're being racist about the it just doesn't make any sense. But I mean, who am I? So I don't know. I'm not super. I'm not super against the show to begin with. I think it honestly could be pretty good. I think the cinematography looks good. I like the casting. For the most part, I thought Hagrid's casting was pretty solid. I thought Harry looks good. Ron looks good. I think Hermione. I was kind of confused on the casting at first, but I don't know. I'm gonna leave personally. I'm gonna leave my judgments for the show until it comes out. You know, I've seen people literally like watching the trailer and being like, "This isn't gonna have the magic of the original series. Like, this looks like shit." Da 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 da. And it's like, there's a big difference, right? The first movie was what, 2.5 hours, if that. This first season, that's literally going to be basically that first movie, is going to have several hours of additional content. It's going to be like 8 hours a season of television. It's completely different in the way that they can like approach the story. I think it will provide a little bit more content and just a little bit more depth if they do it right, obviously. But I'm excited for it. I think it has a possibility of being good, you know. And HBO usually, like, I say usually, but HBO usually is pretty good when it comes to things, you know, not looking at Last of Us Season 2, but I digress. I also mentioned some gaming price hikes, and I don't know if you have seen this yet, but PlayStation has risen their prices for their consoles like dramatically. And this comes right after I was singing their praises last episode. I literally had a hot take where I said PlayStation is the best way to play video games. And I said it's a very close second, or PC is a very close second. At that very moment, I was like, PlayStation, I feel like just has the edge. I don't know what to think. I mean, the prices are dramatically different. Let me look it up for you guys, because it really is like night and day how big of a difference is. Some of these prices are like $100 more, right? Some of them are like dramatically more. For example, the regular PS5 disc edition, right? It's the one I have. I think I bought mine pre-owned for like $300. Okay. That was only Facebook Marketplace, so you can't even take my price into account. But regardless, brand new usually was $549, which, in my opinion, already too high. Already $550, right? $550 for a console that, you know, is not old, right? It's the current gen console, but I mean, we are kind of nearing that next generation in the next couple years, most likely. For it to still be $550, I could understand like a $450, right? Like $449. If it went down $449, I think that would have been the greatest thing, greatest piece of news in the week. I feel like that would have been great, but it did the opposite. Right, it went from $550 to $650. Right, I don't agree with that. But then we also have the digital edition, which was a little bit less than the one with the disc, which makes sense. That one was $500. Now it's up to $600. And the biggest offender is the PS5 Pro, which was $750 originally. Already too much. And now it is $900. I mean, these tariffs and inflation's got to be doing something specifically to the PS5 Pro, because that is an insane jump. And then you have the PlayStation Portal going up $50 from $200 to $250. The PS5 Pro went up a lot, and everything else went up either $50 or $100. So it's not good. It's not good. I think it's definitely obviously a step in the wrong direction. We have the Steam machine coming out soon. I mean, that thing could be $1,000. Like, realistically, that thing could be at best $800, $900. Is still not good, right? Obviously, we have the Nintendo Switch 2. That's super expensive. The games are super expensive. The equipment's super expensive. I mean, it launched at what, like 500-ish, something like that. I can't even remember off the top of my head, but it launched at too much. And games being, you know, Mario Kart, I still to this day will sit here and complain about Mario Kart World launching at fucking $80. What are we doing? That shouldn't be. And people actually still bought it. Like, people still went out of their way and was like, yeah, that's a fine price. What are we doing? Like, Donkey Kong Bonanza, for example, that being $80, it's like, yeah, that still sucks. And you know what's crazy? I was just about to say, you know, I can understand that. No, fuck that. Donkey Kong Bonanza should be $70, right? I was gonna say 60. It should go back down to 60. Whatever. It shouldn't be 80. I think 80 is just fucking pushing it. And this whole discourse about like, oh, GTA 6 is the only game that could be understandable at $60 or $80, I guess. A lot of the pricing is going up. So I take back the hot take that I had last week. I'm gonna stick with PC being the best way to play video games. So yeah, stick to PC, everyone. Unless you can get a PS5 for like $300, $250 or whatever. I'm sure people are gonna be raising their prices on like Facebook Marketplace. So try to find somebody that didn't raise the price yet, and you'll get a pretty good deal. So next on our list is probably the one that I'm going to be talking the most about, and I don't want to yap about this too much because I just recorded this episode yesterday. I did get a little carried away just yapping about the Yeat album and the Kanye album, and people's opinions about them and stuff like that. So we're gonna talk about it, but I'm gonna be the bigger man, and I'm gonna just kind of put my stance out there, and we're gonna leave it at that, right? Obviously, if you've paid attention to any of these albums, right? The Yeat album, the Kanye album, whatever, specifically the Yeat album, then when it drops, everybody's shitting on it. Everybody's still shitting on it, right? Everybody's saying it's trash. Everybody's saying it's Disney outro music. Everybody's saying I've been seeing narratives being pushed around where it's like it's G-Eazy music. It's as worse. It's as bad as KSI. Like, what are we talking about? Genuinely, what are we talking about? My personal opinion on the album, right, as a whole, ADL, that is, A Dangerous Life, A Dangerous Love. Obviously, I made some pretty big predictions about the album, what was it, last episode or a couple episodes ago. I said it was going to be a generational album. I said it was going to be album of the year easily, and things like this, and whatever. At this very point, I wouldn't say that it's album of the year easily. It could be album of the year depending on how it kind of settles in with me. By the end of the year, maybe it kind of becomes better. But at this very point, I do think it's pretty good. I like the album quite a bit. I think it's very good. I think a lot of songs on there are super, super good. But I do have a very big bias. I'm like a very big Yeat fan. He's been my number one artist on Spotify for like 4 years at this point. So when people were online 30 minutes after it dropped saying that this is the worst album, he's washed, he needs to retire, he needs to do, I took it personally. You feel me? I'm like, are we listening to the same album? And then you have people sitting there being like, oh, there's no bells, there's no unique ad libs, there's no this, there's no that, and I'm like, you didn't listen to the album. You legit didn't listen to the album. There's no way. There's no way you sat there and you listened to the same album. I legit think that people skimmed through it and then now are just rage baiting online for clicks and shit. I've opened my eyes, right? And I've realized that I feel like anybody who's dramatically hating on the album online is just looking for clicks at this point. When it first dropped, yes, people, I think, they saw. It's kind of like, let's say you're in a streamer's chat, and let's say the streamer is listening to an album, right? And he's not really saying much about it, so you don't really know how he feels about it yet. And you could see people in chat being like, oh, this is ass, whatever. As soon as the streamer says, oh, I actually fuck with this album, you'll see everybody in chat switch up. Genuinely, you will see everybody in chat being like, oh yeah, this shit fire. It's just the way it is, bruh. It's just the way it is. The main consensus of people, as soon as they start getting a narrative, they're going to just run with it, bruh. Run with it. That goes with the fact that, a lot of people will sit here and say, like, this was Yeat's attempt at, a mainstream album, a mainstream sound, a mainstream whatever. And me personally, I don't agree. Some people were saying, like, this was him going for his Grammy. This was this was supposed to be the Grammy contender album or whatever. Who said that other than his fans? And everyone on Twitter, on social media, whatever. The only person and only people created that narrative of this being a Grammy contender album was the people on social media, was the fans, was, the onlookers, whatever. I could be wrong. I don't think he said that once. I don't think he put this as like a Grammy album. I don't think he put that in that category. The only thing he said was that this is my best album, which correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but every artist says that on the rollout to an album. And I think that's is something I was talking about last night when I was recording this. If you look at Too Alive, or even Up to Me, right? Up to Me, Too Alive, whatever, like 2021, right? Everybody's saying, get back on the perks. You need to go back to 2021 sound. First off, that's a crazy thing to say. For people to sit there and spam, like, you need to get back on the perks. Take 15 perks a day. Like, start doing that again. That's just a lame thing to say. That's so weird. Like, you're weird for saying that. But regardless, yeah, if you look at 2021 Yeat, right, you look at 2 Alive, and you look at the progression that Yeat took from 2 Alive to Life to Afterlife to 2093, that series of time, or that series of albums, and that, like, period of time was so much of a natural progression that people kind of kept the same, like, outlook on Yeat, if that makes sense. Like, obviously 2093 dropped and people hated on it and thought it was shit, and now everyone thinks it's the best album, which doesn't make any sense to me. But if you look at those, or just that span of time, you look at, you know, his fashion, his personality, the fact that he didn't do interviews, and his style and whatever. Like, there was changes for sure. If you go from 2 Alive to Life and Afterlife, on Life and Afterlife, you have Benny X kind of coming in with production and, you know, bringing in kind of that indie drum style and songs like Can't Stop It. Now, especially on Afterlife, where you have like some indie kind of drum styles and indie production and like different shit from 2 Alive, not just like, you know, rage beats with crazy melodies and just trap drums. Yeat was already kind of starting to experiment and go with different styles and do different shit. And then especially going into 2093, where he kind of switched up his production style, not entirely, but like took it from the last 3 previous albums and evolved it and kind of did something completely different. But still, from 2 Alive to 2093, that was a natural progression. And that's why I think people look at that span of time and they don't see any kind of issue with it. And I bring it strictly up to 2093 because Lifestyle was a kind of drastic jump in, you go from 2093, which is this bold, like, futuristic take on music and production and whatever. You know, you had Yeat kind of drop the turban and drop the ski mask and drop whatever. Like, it was different, but it was still in the same line of, like, the path that he was going down, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people don't see a natural progression between two Alive and Tung Sahur. Holy shit. Maybe people don't see a natural progression from 2 Alive to 2093. But what I'm trying to get at is, I think with ADL, people are seeing the presentation of it and looking at what he's given us, assuming that this is his Grammy album. You know what I mean? They're taking the fact that he's completely sober now and like fucking skinny compared to him being like chubby fat. They're taking that. They're taking the Mafia presentation and the fact that he did an hour-long interview and just like trailers that he's dropping. I just think the overall package of ADL leaning towards people looking at it differently and looking at it as like this huge shift and him completely changing and trying to go for something different in a way of trying to go for a Grammy. People just kind of fucking go from 0 to 100 in some shit. You know, maybe Yeat's whole plan was to go for a Grammy. Maybe I'm just chatting shit and I'm completely wrong. That's the way I look at it. I feel like people look at the presentation of the album and see that it's so drastically different from a 2093, from even a Lifestyle, from anything else he's ever done, kind of categorize that as him doing and striving towards something different. And obviously the album is pretty different from other albums, but in my opinion, I still see like remnants of Yeat. I still see his like charm and his delivery and his style within the songs. He's done some singing shit on Dangerous Summer. You know what I mean? He brought some melodic kind of styles in other songs. Like, him doing that in ADL isn't like completely different. May I say, just to be on record saying this, Lose Control is a top 5 song on the album. It's that song is fire. But everyone wants to clip up the first fucking 30 seconds. Fucking run with it, bruh. So it is what it is. I like the album. Speaking of Kanye, I liked his album as well. I thought both albums were great. I don't think we have to sit there and like compare both of them and put them up against each other. I think they're both great albums. I think they're both, you know, I think Bully was better than what I thought it was going to be, and I think ADL was a little bit less of what I thought it was going to be. But I think both are great. I think both are solid listens, and I tweeted this, and I genuinely think that if anybody is hating on either album like dramatically, I think they are rage baiting. And I think it's gotten to the point now where people see that, say something that's slightly controversial, it does okay, right? You get 10 likes. But if you boost it up to 100 and say, oh, Yeat's falling off, Yeat's this is trash, whatever, you just take what you were going to say and just turn it up to 1,000 and put a little funny meme with it, it's going to go fucking viral. So it is what it is. Fuck it, man. I don't know. Like I said, I like the album. I thought it was solid. And I'm going to leave it at that. But let me know what you guys think of ADL and Bully. Tell me the ratings that you guys would give it, and let me know what your favorite song from ADL is. My opinion, I would say Live Like This is very fire off of ADL. I like Live Like This. I do like Lose Control. I think Purpose General is really good as well. Geek Love is good. Went Wrong is very good as well. That one's super solid. Bro, there's a handful of songs on that album I really like. The only two I didn't add were Taller and Naked. Those were the only two that I didn't add, and I think Taller might low-key grow on me a little bit, but when I first listened to it, I thought I was like, this one's actually kind of bad, and then Naked was just mid. Let me know what you guys think. Oh, just in time. Let's see who's calling. Holy shit.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi, it's me again.
Hi. Hey, nice to talk to you again. How you doing?
Let's skip the small talk, okay?
Oh.
Yeah, I need you to do something for me.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Would you...
casting call.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that. Sorry. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye. Welcome to the return of Casting Call for the first, I think it was the first episode that we did Casting Call, and we casted the DCU Justice League. And today I have a very special casting. This is something that you're going to have to kind of take a walk with me for a second. If you were around, right, if you started watching Marvel content or whatever, let's say, I don't even know how many years back now, but when Daredevil first came out and Punisher first came out and those Netflix series, there was a good period of time where people were very unsure if it was canon. There was a good period of time where they didn't know if they were going to get recast. Charlie Cox, Sean Bernthal. They didn't know if those actors were going to get completely recast. Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist. We didn't know if those characters were canon in the MCU or if they were their own kind of separate thing in the Netflix universe. Now we know that they are canon and that they are, a part of the broad universe of the MCU. And I want to kind of retract on that and go through an alternate timeline where we're going to go ahead and recast all of the Defenders. That includes Daredevil, Punisher, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, and Jessica Jones. I have all the castings here. We're just going to go down the list, starting with the biggest one, Daredevil. And it's funny because there was one name that was on my mind for the whole time. Literally last night when I filmed this, I only said one name. But then this morning, I woke up and I was scrolling on my phone, as some people do. I was doom scrolling, I'm not gonna lie. A video popped up on my feed of two guys talking about an actor, right? The whole video, right, was them being like, where is this guy gone? He used to be... They were like, where is this guy gone? He used to be... a lot bigger. He was kind of in the conversation with Timothée Chalamet, and he was like this and that. And it kind of got me thinking, yeah, he was a little bit bigger. He was in mid-90s. He was in Lady Bird, Manchester by the Sea. He was in, some of these movies that are Oscar nominated. And the guy that I'm talking about is Lucas Hedges. He's 29 years old. And I got to thinking, I actually really like Lucas Hedges as a Daredevil. He's younger, he's 29, and I think there's two ways that you can do this. You could go a Lucas Hedges, who's 29 and could interact with Tom Holland and be somewhat of the same age, you know what I mean, and have similar kind of interactions and have that dynamic. I think that would be cool, right? Daredevil, Spider-Man, you could have them being kind of the same age. The other pick, which is a lot more popular, which would be Robert Pattinson. I like both picks. I genuinely do. Last night when I was filming this, I said Robert Pattinson's the only name that's coming up in my head, and I truly believe that until I saw Lucas Hedges and remembered, like, fuck, he was good in mid-90s. Fuck, he was good in Lady Bird. Like, I truly do like Lucas Hedges as Daredevil. I think that could work. Maybe some people are saying fuck no, right? Maybe the viewer right now is not fucking with that pick. So you can go Robert Pattinson. I think Robert Pattinson could kill it as well. I think that dynamic is good. He's like 39, you know what I mean? So he's not super, super old. He could grow with Daredevil, and I think it would be cool and funny to have Batman turn into Daredevil, kind of like how Ben Affleck Daredevil turned into Batman. You know, it's kind of a funny dynamic there. But my number one pick would probably be Lucas Hedges, just because, you know, I do think he would kill it, and I like that pick quite a bit. When I woke up this morning and saw that video, I was like, holy shit, like, really opened my eyes a little bit to the pick, and I think it could be cool. That's Daredevil, and I actually also casted Bullseye, just because, why not? And really the main reason why I did is because Jack O'Connell from Sinners, I think, would make a very good Bullseye. Like, very good Bullseye. I think he would be very, very good. And I think if it wasn't Jack O'Connell, you could also do like a Walter Goggins. I love Mr. Goggins. Holy shit. I think he needs to get in the MCU eventually, and I think Bullseye would be pretty cool. Or you could have him do something even crazier, but I think he would kill a Bullseye as well. And if you're gonna have Lucas Hedges, I mean, you could do somebody a little bit younger, but I think Jack O'Connell could be cool. Jack O'Connell and Lucas Hedges aren't, you know, super different in age, but Jack O'Connell's 35, and Walter Goggins is, I don't know off the top of my head, but yeah. So Bullseye, you could do a Jack O'Connell, or you could do somebody a little bit younger to match Lucas Hedges, but I don't think it would matter too much. Next up, we're gonna go ahead and do let's do Iron Fist. Yeah, let's do Iron Fist. I think it's Iron Fist one. I have two as well. And I wanted to come with multiple castings for this one because when the Iron Fist show came out, one of the main things that people didn't like and, you know, they disagreed with, and it was a big controversy, was the casting. People wanted someone Asian. It's funny because I could be wrong in saying this. I don't think Iron Fist has been Asian until recently, like after the show. Like if you look in Marvel Rivals, I think he's Asian. But in the comics, I could be wrong, and I've never read an Iron Fist comic in specific, but after doing a little bit of research, I don't think he was ever Asian. Like, maybe he was white and Asian, but he was never just fully Asian. And I remember a lot of the discourse back in the day being like, he should be Asian. So now it's kind of making me think that people were just racist. They were like, oh, this guy does Kung Fu, make him Asian. It's like, what the fuck? So I don't know. I don't know what was going on there. But I have two picks just in case, you know, people are still like that. My number one pick would be Connor Story from Heated Rivalry. I know my girlfriend would probably love this pick. But yeah, I think he would be pretty good. Obviously, he's been kind of blowing up from Heated Rivalry. He was also very briefly in the second Joker movie, Joker Folie à Deux. But we don't talk about that movie. Fuck that movie. So yeah, I think look-wise, he kind of looks similar to that original actor that was in the TV show. You know, I don't mind. I don't think that's a bad choice at all. He's 26 years old. So he's kind of close in age to Lucas Hedges if you wanted to, you know, to have that dynamic there, or if you wanted to just have a younger Iron Fist, then that's an option as well. But the other casting I went with, just in case people are like weird and want somebody Asian, like want an Asian Iron Fist, understandable, I guess. You can also do a Ben Wang. He was in the new Karate Kid movies. Fuck it. You know what I mean? You want somebody that does Kung Fu? There you go. Like, people are weird, bro. Like, oh, he does Kung Fu, he has to be Asian. What are we talking about? Holy shit. You guys are weird. You guys are weird, man. I don't know. I would go Connor Story. I think that would be my number one pick. I do like that pick quite a bit. Next, we're gonna go Jessica Jones. I have one pick for Jessica Jones, and I think this pick's actually pretty good. I'm pretty excited about this pick, and that is Daisy Ridley. If you don't know who Daisy Ridley is, she was in the Star Wars movies as Rey. That's kind of what she's widely known for. She was also in a movie with Tom Holland like a while ago about some shit where they can see each other's thoughts or something like that. I don't know. I didn't watch it, but I think Daisy Ridley is pretty good. Obviously, a lot of people are kind of make or break on her Rey, but I do think as Jessica Jones, she could be pretty good. I mean, she's 33, so she's still pretty young and could fit in with a Tom Holland or with, a Lucas Hedges or a Connor Story. I think around that, late 20s, early 30s age is good, except for Punisher. Punisher, I went kind of old, so I hope you guys don't kill me there. But, yeah, I think Daisy really could be cool. And, eventually you could bring Jessica Jones out of the leather jacket and the jeans into an actual comic-accurate suit and have her, be able to fly and have her be able to do whatever. She's, more than just what she was in the show, and I wonder if they kind of lean into that for Daredevil Born Again Season 2, because she is set to return. But let's go ahead and let's do Punisher, just because I just said that, we're going to go a little bit older for him, and we are in the 50s for Punisher, because he's another one that I was looking at, and I couldn't really find anybody that I thought would be like a good fit, other than Karl Urban from The Boys. He plays the Butcher. I saw this online and I was like, that actually could make sense. I do like that casting, because don't get me wrong, Jon Bernthal is great. He's like 49 years old. I think he's actually very good as Punisher. I think that casting is very good. But I think Karl Urban could also be pretty good as Punisher. I saw that one online when I was looking, and I agree. I think that one would be pretty good. I mean, I don't think the Butcher is like 1-1 with Punisher, but I do think they share a certain energy, and I think they Karl could do a good job there. And my other pick, and this is one that I came up with and probably would be my number one pick. I think Karl Urban would be good with like a Robert Pattinson. If you do Robert Pattinson and Karl Urban, I feel like that dynamic would be good. But if you go a Lucas Hedges, I think with Lucas Hedges you could do my second pick for Punisher, or my first pick technically, which would be Noah Weil. He's in The Pit. He was in some older movies. He was in Donnie Darko, I believe, when he was younger. But I think if you were to take him now, he's 54, so he is on the older side. But I think that could work. I think that would be kind of cool. And I think if like I said, if you were gonna go Lucas Hedges, I think a Noah Weil would kind of go better with the two. In my opinion, I think just visualizing it, I think those two would be better, Robin Pattinson or Karl Urban. But for my last one, which would be Luke Cage, we're going to go ahead and do Trevante Rhodes. He was in Moonlight. He was also Mike Tyson in the TV show, I believe. I think it was a TV show, or it might have been a movie. I can't remember off the top of my head. Mike. So, I mean, if he could play Mike Tyson, surely he could play a bulletproof, indestructible superhero called Luke Cage. Fuck it, why not? Obviously, he was very good in Moonlight, and he would be playing a drastically different character in Luke Cage. But I do think that he could pull it off, and he's very big, he's muscular and swole. I like that pick. I mean, he's 36, he's definitely on the older side, but I think regardless, I think he could be good for that pick. Yeah, so let me know down in the comments who you guys would have picked, if you guys agree with my picks. I think my final list that I would do would be Lucas Hedges as Daredevil, Noah Weil as Punisher, Connor Story as Iron Fist, Trevante Rhodes as Luke Cage, and Daisy Ridley as Jessica Jones. That would be my defenders. Yeah, let me know how I did. Let me know if you agree, and I guess we'll do some more casting call eventually. But we're gonna go ahead and end off the episode with Pick a Panel. If you guys don't know what Pick a Panel is, basically, I'm gonna recommend a comic to you, or some comics. In this case, one comic, and that is actually none other than The Invisible Man. Now, I won't lie, I haven't read it yet, but hear me out. How are you recommending something you never read? I'm going to classify this as extending the recommendation to you, because at my comic book store I was checking out. I had all the new comics that came out for Wednesday, and this one actually came out last Wednesday on March 25th. This is obviously the hardcover of the Invisible Man series. I don't know how many were in the series. I don't think it says on the back. I don't think it was a lot. I think it was like 4 or 5 issues. But I was checking out, and this book was on the shelf right next to the cash register, and I saw it, and I was like, did this just came out too, right? They were like, yeah. And they asked me, have you ever read any of the Universal Monster stories? And I was like, no, I've always wanted to, but I've never really, gotten around to it or found one that I wanted to read. And they recommended this one. They said that one's actually really, really good. The issues came out for, a while back, and this is the trade for it. And they said it was very good. They said you can't go wrong with those classic Universal Monster stories. So I'm going to recommend this to you guys, extend the recommendation, and I'll let you know what I think about it whenever I read it. It probably will be something that I read very, very soon. But yeah, that's going to be my recommendation. I did make a TikTok. About all the comics that I did get. I got a lot from the last Wednesday. There was a lot of good ones that came out. So if you're interested to see what I picked up, definitely go check out my TikTok or my Instagram, because I made a new Comic Book Wednesday video about that. But yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Thank you for tuning in and sharing your Monday with me. Today is Monday when I'm filming this, but hopefully I edit it and at least get it out late. But I think I'm going to release it on Tuesday. I guess we'll see. And hopefully my mic's working. Holy shit, if my mic doesn't work, then fuck me. I'm going to have to just cancel this week, I guess. But yeah, thank you for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next week for Bean Bag Banter.